So, Orc and Goblin response is quite a measured response actually. He's in a bit of trouble because all of his support has vanished. And you can see he doesn't panic. He doesn't rush on forward, taking bait to split up his forces. He's keeping his general and his BSP close to his Night Goblins. And well, he obviously wants him to hold. He wants a level 4 wizard inside there to stick around. Fair enough actually. So a very staid, a very measured response. But unfortunately for him, it doesn't really give him much to actually hit. So the only combat currently that's going on is a combat in my favour. We see down here the chariot is rallied and is now facing these plague bearers. And we see the Mangler Squig has decided to abandon the screamers and is coming to hunt my infantry. And it's sitting in the forest where I cannot actually land my flyers to just trigger and destroy the blighted thing. It's a little too far for my plague bearers to just walk on up and step on it, which would be my personal favourite maneuver. So overall nothing terrible, and nothing too surprising. The dogs grind off against these Night Goblins. But unsurprisingly they hold. They're steadfast, they're not going anywhere. So now I have an opportunity to pull my favourite tricks. So we'll start off on the right hand flank, where my dogs move around to threaten to charge on the Doom Diver. My flamers march on round. I'm going to try to shoot out the Doom Diver. The odds aren't high, but hey, why not? And then they're just getting closer and closer to that big gun unit, which I really need to focus down. Then we see in the middle, I've taken a unit of screamers and I've pulled my usual stunts. Stick them right in front and stop them actually getting involved in the game. But now people are quite used to this one. And over here we have a bit of a dog pile. So we have what turned out to be a flank from the Fiends into the unit of Night Goblins, and a nice long charge from the Bloodletters. Once again helped out by that banner of Endless War, giving them an extra d6 on their first charge. And yeah, I'm quite happy. You can only net one unit. It's a lot of goblins to take down, but I have a lot of attacks. I can grind this down. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. But there it is, and quite happy with that one. And then we see down here, I've moved on over to support. I'm trying to tempt him to hit me in the flank with the Mangler, going straight through my Plague Bearers. I've actually completely blundered on this one. I've handed in my Siege Herald, and I could use that wizard. I'm enjoying throwing around the annoying spells, especially things like Curse of Unrehair, which I toss on to him this turn. The other thing I've done is I've handed him quite deliberately a rear with his Goblin Chariot. You know, with a nice high toughness, the odds of him doing a lot to me are low, especially with the 4+ regen, and I should be able to kill him. So that's a little bit of a bait, but he doesn't have a whole lot else he can do, so he's really in a position of take it or leave it. So he's going to have to take it, but such is his life, and I'm quite happy now, just grinding away with the control that I'm used to. So his turn. You can see here my opponent is measuring. You can see the trap coming. He doesn't want to charge. So he ends up reforming, and he's trying to find a way out of this trap for his big guns, but they really aren't in a happy place. He's got those flamers, which last turn were breathing on them. He's got 2 units of screamers now, looking to just keep on whittling away. He has a unit of Plague Bearers here that's actually getting closer and closer and really wants to unload a breath weapon on him. You can see his Night Goblins are getting ground down over turn after combat. On the far side, my Flamers actually got lucky and they shot him out. They shot out his Doom Diver completely, so he's absolutely out of units. The Plague Bearers here, incidentally, this is after his charge, and he charged in with his chariot. He did 1 wound, and it just didn't do enough damage. He managed to inflict a couple wounds. I saved, and unsurprisingly the Plague Bearers just finished him off. And you can see here just how thoroughly encroached upon his units really are. I've got a whole lot of shooting coming his way here, and he's just not happy. He did send his Mangler through these Wizard and through the Demonettes. He managed to kill off 4 Demonettes, and I got lucky. He only did 4 wounds, and I saved 3 of them with my Wizard, which again didn't make him happy. But yeah, he's quite thoroughly contained, and those Night Goblins are being ground to dust. And my next turn, I'm just going to unload on this unit. Okay, let's see how it turns out. So you can see here I'm pulling my usual stunts. I've got 2 units of Flamers unloading on him, 1 5 strong, 1 4 strong, and I've got the 2 units of Screamers flapping over him, annoying him, killing a couple of Orcs every turn, and just guide railing him. He's got nowhere to go. Those Screamers are holding him exactly where I want him, while I grind down his only other supporting units. Actually, just off screen here, I move up my Tsiench Herald, and I managed to get the big version of the Amber Spear off. So this is fantastic. It's a straight 10 bolt thrower that can go straight through his flanks and potentially wipe out 10, but easily a good 5 or 6. I rolled a 1 on the first roll to wound, and such a beautiful little setup just went to hell. Still, I can't exactly say I'm upset with the whole setup here. The bottom, my Demonettes turned to face the Mangler Squig, mainly because I just didn't think this one through properly. But it doesn't really matter. The Mangler Squig is now out of control. It's going to go in random directions, so I can live with it no matter what it chooses to do. So, his turn, and once again he's between a bit of a rock and a hard place. It's time to do something with those big guns, or simply watch them get burnt out. So his turn, can see he finally cracks. He's lost more than half of that unit. He needs to do something with it now or never. So he charges the units of 2 Screamers, which he obviously butchers, and at the same time my combat units finally finish off his unit of Night Goblins. They've put a fair amount of damage onto the Bloodletters, but they are finally ground down. And so we go on to my 5th turn. So my turn 5, I resist the temptation to simply charge into him, and I decide I'm taking one last turn of shooting the living daylights out of him. I move up my Plague Bearers a bit, I unload a breath weapon, I do all the flybys necessary, I get the Fiend out of the way, I set up the flank charge if necessary with these Flesh Hounds, and I managed to irresistible through everyone's favourite, Curse of Unraher, and kill my Wizard, who really deserved to die a long time ago. And it left him with a rank of about 3 Orcs, a BSB, a Orc Shaman, and a General. And that was it. So, on to his turn 6, and, sorry, his turn 5, may as well have been. His turn 5, he charges in. And that little unit simply isn't enough. I've even managed to get up Wissen's Wild Form on there. So I'm Strength 5, Toughness 5. And all that remains of his unit is his General, who manages to outrun my units of Plague Bearers. And that's pretty much all she wrote. Of minor note is the Mangler actually went hunting the Bloodletters and killed them all and put 1 wound on my General. And in my final turn, I don't have pictures of it, but I charge his General, who has to flee. He goes the wrong way through, he gets charged with the Flamers, goes the wrong way, and I just end up in a position where I can keep charging and pinballing him, but I'm never going to catch him. So I take a couple of flybys, I do a bit of shooting at him, and I don't manage to kill him. I get him down to 1 wound, and his last turn he rallies, and that's the end of the game. A another massacre for the Daemons. And a really interesting one here, because he had the support to try contain the Daemons, but it's unbelievable just how quickly I could get hold of his support. And once the support was gone, again, just played the same game of picking his army apart one unit at a time while just delaying the others. And it's rough. I'm not quite sure what he did wrong here. I'm sure he must have made a couple mistakes, because there's no ways it was an unwinnable game. But it's really difficult to put that pressure on me, and he has to do it somehow. Anyway, very cool game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Cheers!